Alright, so Genesis 43 starts with Judah and his brothers returning to their father, explaining that if they want more food from Joseph, they'll have to bring Benjamin with them. I think it's interesting to note that, like, Judah offers his own life to protect in protection of Benjamin for their father's sake. In the previous chapter, Reuben offered his protection of Benjamin. I think it's interesting that, like, in the beginning they were plotting to kill and ended up selling their youngest sibling, and now they're offering their own lives for the youngest. I'm not sure if it's solely because of their father's reaction to the idea of Benjamin dying, or if they have other ulterior motive, but I do believe that there is some level of compassion between the brothers at this point. So when they return to Joseph with Benjamin, I didn't realize this the first time I read it, but the second time around, I realized that in verse 28, they actually do end up, like, bowing down and paying Joseph honor, which is a fulfillment of the dream he had had previously of them bowing down. And then Joseph has to leave to weep when he sees Benjamin for the first time. So several years has passed since he's seen his only 100% like blood relative of his mom. And then he goes on to serve him 5 times more as everybody else. I really wish I knew what their reactions were, if they had it, like, if they questioned why he was being fed so much more than them. They had to think something at that point, like, why is this random guy demanding to see our youngest brother and then feeding him a ton? Like, what's happening? But I did have an interesting thought while reading this. The fact that, like, throughout this story, the brothers are, they were jealous of Joseph being favored, and now Benjamin is being favored by Joseph. Like, there's just this constant, like Al said, there is, like, this family dysfunction, but it's a good reminder that, like, we all are dysfunctional, and even though we are that way, we can still end up playing a really instrumental part in God's plan. Like, these siblings end up being the 12 tribes of Israel. Like, they're a huge part in God's story, but in the moment they can't see that. So it's just an important reminder that, like, we in the moment can't see what God is doing sometimes, or why certain things are happening to us. But there's always a good thing in motion that God is always working on. Chapter 44, I honestly didn't have as many thoughts on. Basically, Joseph plants something on Benjamin in the hopes that, like, he will come and stay with him and be his servant or something like that. And Judah, like, fights really hard against that. He ends up saying, like, he explains, like, our brother is dead. He's the only descendant of Rachel left. Our father loves him. Like, we need him. But then it just pretty much ends, like, with him pleading, like, I don't want to see my father in misery. So yeah, I'm not really sure what to say on this chapter. It's definitely interesting how hard Judah fights for him. So yeah, that's about it.